now that we're through that, we're gonna talk about the worst category, and I don't mean by baits. I mean by just the shame of it is baits that you went, you bought, you spent money on, you threw them, and you just still haven't had that hookup yet.
Okay. Hmm. Uh, wow. I think I only have two.
Less than
Um,
me.
just because I haven't put in the time with them. Chad Shad, the Spro Chad Shad, and the Arashi, the Storm Arashi Glide. Um, they're good. They're good lures. I just haven't put the time in with them.
Hmm.
But they haven't gotten first blood yet. That's two
Yeah.
right there. And let me see. Let me see. Uh, one more. I mean, it's the same. It's the same as the peacock, but it's the zombie bass. I had a couple hits on it, but I haven't caught anything with it yet.
And who's the maker of that?
That's from Hun Lures.
Okay.
There's that one. Oh yeah, and one more from Hun Lures. Uh,
You're starting to
trout,
break a little bit where you're at.
right? And this one more from Hun Lures. This brook trout multi joint.
Okay.
Just got to put time in with it.
Yeah. I
If
feel
you
like
put
that's
in the
the
time, you could catch them on anything.
right, and that's the truth is you like to think that certain baits catch more fish, but you don't realize how much more time you're putting in with those baits that anything, like you said, could eventually get bit.
Yeah, yep. You put the time in with it, you'll get one eventually. So yeah, that's I think that's the only ones that haven't caught fish.
That's your couple. All
With
right. Yeah,
this bait.
I got quite a few. Unfortunately, that's probably my biggest category, but I'm gonna run through them really quick. And again, most of these are due to my own lack of tying them on, and that's
Yeah,
just kind of where most people are going to find themselves. Where you're having a bad day, you don't want to waste time on the ones that you're like, never caught anything yet. I don't quite believe that if it's a tough day, this is the right choice, but you got to put
yeah,
that time in, and it might end up, especially with it's always bigger baits. I feel like most people would say it's those big baits that you just haven't found that right fish. So
yep,
that seems to be the majority of people's like they bought it and they tied it on, but just never quite got that hookup with it.
yep,
Uh, for me, my most disappointing one's probably the Clash 9, just because they're so popular. They
yep.
get tons of notoriety for catching big fish, and they have awesome action. They're very versatile. I fished this one with the lip out and just as an actual
Okay.
glide,
Yeah,
but you can fish it like a big jointed bait with the lip in, like a big crank. You can dead walk it. It just I've only tied it on a few times, and I got bit a few times with it. But again, they were coming up and just nipping at it, and
yeah,
they might have been 2 pounders. Nothing really wanted it, but it's just unfortunately it's one of those baits where I think it's a lot of it's user error. I haven't put it's not an easy bait to work. You kind of need a lot of like you got to be watching it. You can't just sit there and wait, this if it has doesn't have enough slack, it turns on itself, like it'll do a glide and it'll just stop. Like you really got to give this thing room to move, and if it's choppy water or if it's in a river, it just to me, it's not the type of bait that I'm going to throw on most of the time, just based on the conditions. At least where I fish, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these two are very similar, so I'll put them all together. That's going to be the Depths 250 and the Bait Sanity Explorer Gen 2. So these are both almost identical in size.
Yeah.
This one for sure is heavier. These are like 7 ounces. These are more along the lines of like 4 to 5, I believe. But again, the action on these are great. This one's a floater, which I really like because I can sit it on the surface. I've kind of given it like a walk the dog, but it also, on a nice steady retrieve, it goes a few inches below. It has
Mhm.
surprisingly a good amount of flash for the finish on it. And I'm just waiting for the right day where I get bit on that. And of course, the depths, everyone knows that. That's like the original big glide bait that made glide baits famous, really. Uh,
Yeah.
Everyone has one at one point. And this one I got specifically as the smallmouth pattern, just because being on the Susquehanna, a couple of the bodies of water also have smallmouth where I fish, and
Mhm.
it just looks awesome. Like it has such a good the overall profile, the skin on it, the rubber skin. Kind of like the with the Scandal, same thing where they fill up with the
Yeah.
water a little bit. They have such a nice fluid action. I'm just it's one of those things where these are not ones you tie on and you catch a fish in your first 10 casts. You need
Nah.
time. You need time with like that.
You got
And
to find that right fish.
yeah, and the right day where they're willing to even bite it, even if it is
Yeah.
the right fish. Sometimes
Yeah.
they want something small or they want something
Yeah.
that's super choppy. The limitation on that is it's not a choppy bait, and you really can't make it choppy. It just doesn't have that ability as some of these other ones where you can really get crazy with it and make it erratic.
Yeah.
But speaking on that, this one, the 11-inch trick shad,
Jesus.
it has the ability to get fairly choppy considering how big it is. It goes super wide. Uh, Again, it's a resin bait, so it's a very, very slow sink. It suspends really well if you want to work it slow, but man, going fast even, this thing can get fairly choppy for its size. I
Yeah.
think for me, the limitation is just the size. I mean, compared to other baits that are fairly big, like the 9-inch trick shad, I mean, that's a big difference in overall profile. And but first time I threw this, first day I got it, I went to the river to a little creek, and I said, I just want to see what it looks like. I had a pike follow it this far behind the tail, just watching it, probably somewhere around that high 30 inches, maybe low 40s. And it was just cruising behind it
Wow.
as they do, just watching it. As soon as it saw me on the bank, it took off. But I've never seen a pike in that area. So it drew it out from somewhere. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I can say about this is if I take this to a big fishery where there's possibly striped bass, maybe some monster bass, I think the odds are I will eventually get bit. But again, in some of these smaller ponds, this is just I feel like just not something that they're going to be willing to go after. That was something I bought
Yeah.
where I was
That's like
just
a
like,
five.
yeah, I was like, why not? Like, why not
Yeah.
buy it? You may end up getting the biggest fish ever, or it's just fun to throw too. It's fun to throw and watch in the water, and it's heavy though, man. It's 7 ounces. Like
Jeez.
it tops out my mega bass rod. I can throw it.
Yeah.
It's not amazing with that rod, but it's good enough. I just can't throw it all day because again,
Yeah.
it's that rod's not. Some of those rods are like up to 16 ounces. Like that's a rod I would get to throw this. I just don't throw it a lot to
Yeah.
justify getting a whole setup just for this or something similar.
Get a cheap musky rod.
Yeah, yeah. I might just be or like a saltwater rod, something just to get it out there. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
you can find used ones all the time. Maybe look on marketplace, just to kind of match it a little bit better to this, and the depths kind of require that little bit step up.
yeah,
If you want to throw it consistently, I think I would want to bump up to like 25-pound fluoro with those two and a little bit more, beefed up rod.
yeah.
And another one here is the BGC, their 9-inch shad glide. It's Big Game Customs. I got this on eBay for like $90. Uh,
Nice.
Resin bait, awesome action on it. It really does. I do have the strips on it though, the weights, just because I did lower the hook size. I went one step down to ones, and it's a super super high float. Like if you're going slow, uh, this is sticking out of the water. It's creating a wake, which isn't bad, but this is one that it's a super high float. So depending on where you're fishing, uh,
Yeah,
this was one again that I threw in the river. It looked great in the current. You can get fairly choppy with it. Had good action. Just I probably only casted it less than 50 times. I only took it out
right.
twice, and I just didn't put in the time because you can only throw so many when you go out. So
Yeah,
that's going to be one for the spring to put some more time in. And then lastly, another oversized bait. You were talking about your Citizen, your 7-inch. I got the 9. So this is
yeah.
a
You're wild fishing for smallmouth with these baits that you have.
yeah, it's a huge chunk of plastic here. Uh, big tail on it, and
Yeah,
again, like single hook, but the right fish. These are designed very well with that little pocket there. That when
yeah,
something bites down, it doesn't take a lot of pressure to expose that hook. So it's only a matter of time with this, but I tell you, for how big it is, I had two largemouth come up and just grab the back half just with that tail. Just the
yeah,
tail kicks so much on a slow retrieve. That thing was moving. And just think that the overall action of it, I got a lot of attention for how big it is. So I have no doubt that if I came across the right fish, I'm gonna get hit with it. I just hope it's not a muskie or a pike. I don't want it to tear it up because they're pretty expensive for a soft
yeah,
bait.
yeah. They are.
That's the only thing that would suck is bass. You'll get a couple with that. You get a big muskie, you might get one or two, and that thing's torn up.
You better hope he doesn't get that whole thing in his mouth because he's gonna break you off.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and that's where I might end up throwing this on one with mono just to have a little bit extra stretch, just so I don't set the hook and snap off. But yeah, when I threw it, I was surprised. Like it casts well,
Hmm.
it swims well. Like it's one of those baits that I just got to put the time in. It's just I'm more afraid to throw that just because of they're not easy to find. Like you really
Yeah,
can't find those the citizens or the battle shad. They're hard to come
yeah,
across and they're
yeah,
expensive. Yeah, really
yeah. They
expensive
are.
for what they are. And
Yeah.
so we'll end it quick on a. I want you to pick two swim baits. I want you to pick like a jointed bait or a lipped bait and a glide bait that you would recommend to anyone who's either getting into it or someone who's just looking for another option to add to their lineup.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna go with two two easy ones that I feel like are easy to fish and affordable and that get bit. Uh, the first one's gonna be the Karen, the OSP Karen. I can't say enough good things about that lure.
And what are
And
those,
then
Ron? price wise?
I think they're about 50 or 50 or $60. This is the saltwater version actually. It's a little cheaper and it actually has a rattle in it.
Okay.
The the freshwater one does not have the rattle. I have both, but for some reason this one just this crazy chartreuse just
Yeah.
was deadly for me. And then um a multi-jointed bait that's easy to get and is a great bait is a 6 cents trace. Um, this is a 6 inch. This is a 7 1/4, and they're easy to fish. They get bit. You can burn it on the surface like a wake bait. You could do anything with it.
And they're like what, 30 bucks, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and that's a great one to throw, you know, wherever you want to throw it, and if it doesn't come back or it's in a tree or whatever, it's like you could have two or three on hand. So I feel like that's
Yeah,
the confidence to throw that. You're going to catch more fish when you're throwing it into the areas where you might not get it back.
yeah, and yeah, that's kind of my recommendation. Is glide baits are great, but if you want to start out with something that you could just cast and wind. You
Mhm.
know, a soft bait like a shadtron,
Yeah,
6 inch shadtron. That's another perfect one that you don't need to know anything. If you can cast and reel, you know what I mean? I would
yeah.
start with something like that.
And you don't have to have any crazy gear to get
No,
started to throw something that size.
no, you could throw this 6 inch trace on you know a standard setup,
Hmm.
and that's that.
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna throw out my few. I would say for the glide bait category, strictly glide, would be the artisan glide. Just based on, I could go on right now on Tackle Warehouse. Every color's there. They're all available. Uh, they're not hard to track down. The size of them,
Yeah,
they are 3 ounces, I believe, so nothing crazy. They cast fairly well. They're super easy to work. You don't have to have a lot of knowledge in glide baits, how to work them, and
yeah,
they get bit for the small amount of time I've had with them. Again, I'm not an expert using glide baits. Uh, I just got back into. I just started really the glide bait itself. I threw, but the multi joints was when I was younger. The glide baits are like brand new to me. So I can tell when one's
yeah,
easy because I don't have all that much skill. So when it's easy for me, it's easy for most people because I don't have
yeah.
10 years of throwing stuff like this. So this one is special,
Right,
being that it's a production bait and everyone you buy is going to swim like this. The resin baits,
right.
you get your kind of batches where they're a little some are a little bit better action, some sink faster, whatever. These are they replicate. Everyone's going to swim the same, and that's why I like these because if I had 10 of them, I know they're all 10 going to swim the same. So can't say enough good
Yeah,
stuff about these. I'm sure there's more colors coming out. They don't have a ton right now, but as we discussed, I don't need them. I like a nice kind of like a stained water, a bright one, and maybe like a natural color, like a trout that I have, and that's about it. I don't,
yeah,
and they have all the bases covered with these paint jobs, and
yeah,
and then I'm gonna throw in one more on the glide bait type, just because it's a totally different type. Would be a bait sanity, the Explorer Gill. Being that one, this is a bait that I would say just as much of a glide bait. It's also a good just straight retrieve swim bait. I run mine with a
right.
split ring. I just have a size 5 split ring. Uh, the snaps I think give it too much of like it's way too wide for me. But with a straight retrieve, the split ring or a direct tie, It has a real nice, almost like a multi-jointed bait. It's a pretty tight uh, wobble, but again, I had a couple of my bites come just from them burning it and then stopping it, and then
Hmm.
boom. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like that for a beginner, if you just got this and did a straight retrieve, a stop and go, 100% you're getting bit. And very little
Yeah.
inputs. Like you do a quarter turn and this thing's doing this. You do not need a lot because
Right.
it doesn't have that like fluent uh sorry, that fluid glide. It's a chop. It's just a that's all it's doing. It's almost turning on
Right.
itself. It's not you'd not take much skill for these. So if I was gonna go for a bluegill one, that's my pick. And for a multi-joint, I'm going with another bluegill style, and that's gonna be the artisan gill. Just because for the amount of time I used it, I got three fish, and I might have thrown this thing for about 3 4 hours total, which
Right.
might not sound great to people, but when you're fishing these types of baits, that's awesome.
That's
And
great. Yeah.
just the overall, you can't go like the quality of them, the way they're built, the hooks they come with, the paint jobs. You could spend more money on getting a cheaper bait, changing out the hooks, the paint. Sometimes on some cheaper baits, it's like you throw it out once, just on the hooks hitting it, the paint's coming off, and you start to realize that like a lot of these baits are not made equal. Where yeah, these are a little more expensive, but you catch a few fish on them, you realize how much more the benefit of getting these higher quality ones are because they just last. They hold up over
Yep.
30, 40, 50 fish versus these other ones, the paint's the paint's off in a couple casts. So if I would say one, just another multi-joint though, again, just a cast and a wine though too, is the bull shad, or they have the just the multi-jointed shad, like the just the it's again it's like it's a four joint, it's just like a shad profile. Those just those are great for throwing, winding them back, and just pausing. And that's why that one's was one of my first ones for the multi joints because there's no thinking of it. You can see it in the water. It's just a burn, 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 stop, burn, burn, stop. Like you can't get any more simple than that. There's really nothing. There's really you know, no skill involved other than
Yeah.
the casting. That's the biggest thing I think I'm realizing with all these baits is just placing it in an area to get bit.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You can throw it out in the middle and retrieve it back. That's great, but not all the fish are going to want to come 15, 20 feet off the bank to to come get it. So some of these baits is like, it's the castability for me is another thing where some baits it's like they're just not accurate. You can
Yeah.
you know where you want to put it and it just does its own thing. And other ones, man, you can get it down to like a science to where you can just without even thinking about it put it right where you want. So
Yeah.
that is why I like this because it's built it is flatter, but they're pretty thick. It's a big hunk, but man, that's one that you can just beat up, throw it anywhere you want, and for the most part, I've put in some time with it. I feel like next year I'm probably going to use it more. It's just that this year I had so many baits, and that's the issue was I had too many to tie on, and I also didn't have a lot of rods starting out. I had one swim bait rod, one
Yeah.
crankbait rod. So it's like I picked one bait and I threw it for an hour. I tie another one, throw it for an hour, and I just wasn't putting in the time that it really takes to figure them out, and also just to get bit because it's a marathon, man. You got to put hours in sometimes just to get one commit.
That's true. That's actually one thing I do want to say if anyone wants to start out learning any technique, the way I always did it. I mean, the way I learned everything from frogs, swim baits, you name it, is I'll just go out with just that one frog. That's it. Don't bring nothing else with you and just go fishing for the day.
Hmm.
And you'll catch fish. And the same thing with swim baits. Just take one with you. Don't take anything else. Don't bring any normal baits. Just take that swim bait out and go and fish and cover water. And eventually you'll get rewarded.
Yeah, I did notice that from the beginning of the year, starting to throw these, and it's like just me watching them in the water. I'm like, man, that just looks so much better than what it did back in the beginning of the year. And I'm thinking, if I notice the difference, I'm betting the fish do too. So there's probably a lot of opportunities that I missed that there were fish there, they were ready to bite. I just wasn't giving them that right presentation. And
Right.
I feel like that was and then again I would switch my bait because nothing was biting, and I never really put the time until about maybe midsummer. I started getting the hang of some of these, but I already missed the best time of the year. You know,
Yeah.
midsummer they're not biting a lot of these bigger baits, and
Yeah.
before you know it, it's winter rolls in here, and now it's too cold. So
Yeah.
those first couple months are crucial, and that was where I was just starting to get my legs again, and learning how to throw a bait caster because that was the
Right.
first one I ever bought was last March, and I didn't have the skills necessary to do a lot of things, especially throw a big glide bait that is a whole different skill set than just
Yeah.
throwing a spinner bait. Anyone can pick up a spinner and just wind it back. I mean,
Yeah.
but these glides, like I started getting really heavy into them right around the time where they stopped working. And
Right.
when they did work, you'd get a bite in 6 hours, which is not uncommon, but
Yeah.
I missed that peak swim bait season. And then end of the year, man, summer went super long, and then winter came really fast for us. It went it went from full-fledged summer, super hot, the water was really warmed up, and then boom, cold, and we had these weeks in the teens and the 20s to where everything shut down.
Yeah.
So that's where like now I'm trying to regroup and get my stuff ready for next year because I kind of missed my opportunity. And one more
Yeah.
thing I wanted to talk about real quick before we take this too long. Anything next year? Well, I know your year's not over because you get to fish all year. But going into next season when it really ramps up, what are you looking to get gear wise, bait wise, anything?
Um, three baits I want to get is the new Mega Bass. Um, I don't even remember what it's called, but it's the big glide. I think it's like a
I
250.
slide.
The eye slide. Yeah, the new one they just came out with. It's like the size of a 250.
Yeah,
I want to get that, and then I think I want to get an artisan glide and maybe the Bait Sanity 11-inch Chimera.
yeah, those look good, man. Like that's. I wish I could find the original size, but those 11s look pretty good too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying. I'm probably gonna step up in size this year.
Hmm.
Like next year. I mean, this past year, I mostly did like normal size stuff. A couple big ones, but for the most part, I just threw normal size swim baits. You know, just
Yeah,
to get better at it.
I think I started off too big, and then when I went to start stepping down, I missed that opportunity to where the big baits would have been better in the beginning of the year, but I didn't
Yeah.
have the equipment. I didn't have the skill to throw them. I just don't.
Right.
I think I should have started smaller and kind of worked my way up. But
Yeah.
everyone, I like big baits. Like everyone, I just like the idea of throwing something out that you could
Yeah.
catch the biggest fish ever. And to me, it's just the risk reward. It's more, and I just like I don't know. I like the craftsmanship of some of these baits where they're
Yeah.
just I love the paint jobs and the action of them. Like that's half the fun of it is just watching them in the water.
Yeah. Definitely.
What about rods, reels, anything like that? You're possibly
Oh,
looking into?
I was maybe gonna get a Leviathan eye scope. It's a 1 to 4 ounce. I was looking at one of those just to upgrade a little bit. It's expensive though. I don't know if I'm gonna pull the trigger on it, but
What are you looking
possibly.
at?
What's
400?
that?
What's it weight?
400.
Yeah. That's a lot for a rod, but I mean, two baits together sometimes cost about 400. I always look at that. Like I got some baits that cost half as much or as much as my
Yeah.
rod. So
But they're good rods though. Like my simple face, that's like their cheapest rod, but it's great. It's got double footed guides all the way up. You know what I mean? Most
yeah,
rods don't have that.
that's how I feel about my Dobbins, man. Like some people talk shit on Dobbins, but that 795, dude, I've gotten hung up on things where I uh I really I really was yanking on the rod. So does my dog. Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Thank you. And I was really, trying to get my bait back, and that rod, it held up good. I never felt like it was gonna snap or I could hear any cracking on it, and
Yeah,
it whips, within reason up to that 4 ounces like nothing, and I can't complain
yeah,
for $140 rod at the time. Now
sure.
they're like 160 now, but that's just the way everything is. Everything went up.
Inflation. Yep.
But under $200, man, for most rods, you can't go wrong.
No.
Well, you can go wrong. It's just depending on the rod. There are some cheapies out there that you may as well spend an extra $50.
Right. Absolutely.
I actually ended up getting a few of the things from the last time we talked. I did get my Wake Walker, the LT version.
Nice.
So I got that, and one thing I noticed with this, the these are very very close together. The hook hangers.
Yeah, the normal wake walker will tangle too.
Yeah. So what I
But the
did
resin
was
one,
I got these BKK EWG hooks,
okay.
and they're like super super short shank, as you can see.
Yeah,
And they don't even come close to touching each other. So that was my way
yeah,
around it, was going down a size. These are a size 4, but they have nice big gaps there where they still fit the bait. So I don't know. I'm big on
yeah.
changing out. I change out hooks on everything. So I threw some
Right.
size 3 split rings and those hooks on it just because I feel more confident putting on my own stuff. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
And one more I ended up getting.
You
I,
ever?
I did show you that was the that KGB Prince. This one,
Wow.
this one looks awesome. This was I got it on eBay. It's custom color. It's kind of like a bluegill, and man, I
Yeah,
cannot. This one's gonna be great to throw. Like this one's gonna be awesome. I mean, very very comparable to like the boss size.
yeah,
But that's one and I got a Chad Shad that's not quite here yet. But I always wanted to try a Chad Shad, like the resin one.
yeah.
And this one,
Right.
I was looking for a Chad Shad, and that came up, and I thought, why not try that little extra? I know the Legend is kind of like that middle ground, and the Prince is just that little bit of a step up. So I figured, why not?
Okay. Why not?
And the rod and reel I was looking at, that Lexa, the Daiwa Lexa you have,
Yeah,
I did want to get the 300 size for another big setup with another Leviathan for throwing those like 4 to 5 to 6 ounce baits, because I just feel like I'm gonna go bigger next year. I feel like I didn't have the best setup moving into this
yeah.
year. I just want another one because, again, like you can only throw one at a time, and I'm gonna kind of really focus on kind of mastering these bigger ones.
Yeah,
And I don't want to be retying every hour because again, I want to put the time in. Whatever I tie on that day is staying on.
Yep.
And then I'll have another rod that maybe I'll swap out, maybe I won't, but like that's the problem is having one rod, you tend to swap out way more often than you want to, as if
Yep.
opposed to having another setup and also having one with mono and one with fluoro
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I do have some bigger wakes and stuff. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you. I did get the toxic baits, the Wade Hogs, the ABS,
Nice.
and this is a big wake bait, but it also does crank down, so you can use it with mono. That was my plan. Keep it on the surface, or you can dive it down a couple feet. But using some mono gives you that ability to keep it super on top if you want to.
Yeah.
And the only other one I'm really looking at that I didn't get this year is like a rat, PB rat, something
Nice.
similar. Because the river, tons and tons of rats and mice
Oh
around.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I feel like I was gonna get like a nice dark, dark brown or black, and I feel like that get crushed in the river.
Hmm.
You see
Yeah,
some.
I got a combat rat on the
Okay,
way.
yeah,
Evergreen,
yeah.
evergreen combat rat.
I saw those.
Yeah.
I would probably pick one of those up and like the three jointed PB rat.
Okay.
And I think that might be where I end it with baits
Okay.
because I need to use all the ones I have. I have just as many baits I haven't caught fish on than I do that I have because I just haven't had, I also can't fish every day. Some people put in
Yeah.
10-hour days. It's like sometimes I don't get to fish for a week. And when I do,
Yep.
might be for 3 hours. So, no, not throwing any shade to people who get to do it every day, but
Yeah.
the end of the year, their numbers are going to be a hell of a lot higher than mine, to where I don't have the access to go fishing like some people do. So,
Yeah.
and not having a boat, you know, you're much more limited. I have a kayak, which was the best thing I bought
Yeah.
really in my life. I
Yeah.
feel like was such a good investment for $500, man, to get started.
Yeah.
It got me off and got me out fishing some areas that I could never do, and for such a small investment, I throw it on my Jeep and I can
Nice.
do it by myself. And it's like, you know, that opposed to going to the lakes and just going off. You got 100 times more, opportunities now and open up yourself that you can go to these bodies of water where it's almost like not even fishable from the shore. Some are like that, where
Yeah.
like you can't even try.
It's tough.
Yeah. And you're more of a bank fisherman, right?
That's it. Bank
Yeah.
only. I, I would get a boat eventually, but I don't know. I just know how I fish, like on my feet. I just can't imagine being sitting down. I mean, I'm sure you get used to it, but I'm like, nah, I can't. I need to be able to move around on my feet.
I'm pretty much standing 90% of the time on my kayak.
Okay.
And that's why I went with I got the Old Town, the Predator. It's
Okay.
a fairly big kayak, and I mean I'm like 6 foot, like 240. I'm not a small guy, and I stand up on that thing. I cast, I reel them in standing up, and I'll sit down just to net them quick, and haven't
Right.
fallen in. You get your balance pretty quick. At the beginning, I'd be fishing and I just like all of a sudden my weight will just go like that. But after
Yeah.
a while, I stand when boats go by and they wake and it's like this it's sitting there and I'm on
Yeah.
the kayak and it's rocking and I stand the whole time. I ride it out like I'm very surprised how fast my body got used to that motion and that rocking. And I'm throwing, I threw this in the kayak standing up, like just whipping
Yeah.
it, like not as hard as I thought it was going to be. So,
Yeah.
anybody out there wants to look into kayak, and I'm telling you, like, I got a $60 roof rack off of Amazon, put it on my Jeep, and I pick it up by myself. I throw it on, and I'm off.
Nice.
You can't ask for much more to get into, if you want to look into a boat like a John boat, You got the
Yeah.
trailer, you got all the stuff, the motor with it. You buy a paddle and a kayak, and you know, obviously there's more stuff. You got to, the kayak crate, the Yak Attack stuff.
Yeah.
The crates are awesome. That's one thing I'm glad that I got into, but that was kind of my way of getting off the bank without going. You could spend ungodly amounts on even small boats.
Yeah.
It's a lot,
Oh yeah.
man, and it's
I
just
hear you.
it's not for everybody. Maybe one day, but so anything else here before
Right.
we cut this off? I know we've been going for a long time. Let me just actually, well, one quick thing. Um,
Okay.
so why swim baits and glide baits? What's your fascination? What's your reason that got you into it, or the reason why you throw them over other techniques?
Um, honestly, I feel like most of the time it's kind of like a gimmick. It's not really practical all the time. I mean, there's times when you could catch 10 fish on a glide bait, but that's not every day.
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of it is just bragging rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's cool, kind of, you know what I mean? And you will catch big fish. There's no doubt about it. You will catch big ones.
I think that's what it is for everybody. It's like the the percentage goes down on what you'll catch, but man, when you get bit, every time you think it's the biggest fish I've ever got. It's a
Yeah.
10-pound bass, and I think that's that. Sorry, that's that. That's like the fascination with it is, you know, every time I cast that, I might catch the biggest fish I've ever caught, and you just don't know. And again, you'll catch small fish, you'll catch 2-pound fish, but the odds are something that hits a big bait, it should be bigger. It not always is, but
Right.
it's just kind of like that psychological thing of like, you're always sitting there waiting, like at any given time you throw a spinnerbait or a crankbait, it's like you get bit, you never think it's a giant. It could be,
No.
but like
Yeah.
you have it in your head that glide bait is so big that only a monster is going to hit it. And I think
Yeah.
it's, and again, man, like it's that, like I think that, like, just dude, that it just looks cool. Like I like
Yeah.
the
It's
overall,
cool.
the craftsmanship and the paint, and like the fact that somebody made this. That's kind of why I like those resin baits, because like
Yeah.
someone actually put time in, made this bait, painted it up, and like the fact that you can go catch fish with it, I think is pretty cool. Um, but I think for me, one of the biggest things when I was younger, especially, was just the visual, like the visual and the connection of, I have to do everything to make this bait look good and catch a fish. I
Yeah.
can't just throw out a worm and just do one of these. You got to be actively reeling it. You got to be making it dart. You got to be, every input you do is what results in a bite. And as a kid, I
Yeah.
was always an athlete. I was always very much into like just being active. And I feel like there's nothing more active fishing than a glide bait, because it's constant casting, it's constant retrieving. It's like there's so much more that goes into it. You have to have like a plan of attack versus just cast and
Oh
wind,
yeah.
cast and wind. Like it's, I don't know. I think it's just kind of like that
You're
mindset of,
predator hunting.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
real predator hunting.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like you're hunting the fish, but the fish is hunting the bait, but it's like you're going after, you're trying to go where they are and just piss them off into biting. And like, and it's just also not a skill that like everyone just has. You have to build the
Yeah.
skill, you have to put the time in. So I think it's so much more rewarding getting that glide bait or that swim bait fish, because everything you did led up to that fish. It wasn't just I threw something and I ran it by its face, because you know a lot of things out there. You can catch a fish on spinner baits or from chatter baits and jigs all day, but I don't know what it is, man. Like it's fun, but I can catch a
Yeah,
fish half the size on a glide bait, and it's more fun for me. I don't know what it is. That bite's always more exciting.
it is. It definitely is. Even like you said, even if it's not a giant, it's like a big sense of accomplishment to catch one on one of your swim baits, you
Right? And
know?
especially when you spend a lot of money on that bait, you tell yourself, "All right, it was worth it." I can I can justify making that purchase, you know.
Yep, definitely.
But
Yeah.
all right, if that's all, then I guess we're gonna end it here for today. And unless you got anything else to add, we'll probably call it quits. There ran a little bit longer, but it's something you could talk about. There's a million different things you could discuss about this category.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think we covered all the bases. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and maybe we'll have to get together a little farther in the year next year and see what's been effective coming up after we get into 2026.
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
Absolutely.
Again,
All right.
appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
boy.
All right, take it easy.
All right, you too.